The official blueprint ends at basement level 5. According to city records, everything below that is solid bedrock. No rooms, no corridors, nothing. But that night, the elevator didn't care about the records. I pressed B5. The display went past it. B3, B4, B5. It paused. Then it changed. B7, a floor that doesn't exist. And for the first time in 30 years, the doors opened. Welcome back to the Liminal Archives. I'm Sophia Chen, an urban planning researcher. In most Western cities, buildings grow upward. Skyscrapers are about ambition. Height means power. But Seoul grows in two directions: up and deep underground. We call this the vertical iceberg theory. What you see above ground is only half the structure. The rest is buried, hidden, and mostly forgotten. During the Cold War, South Korean law required large apartment buildings to include underground civil defense shelters. Most of them were eventually turned into parking garages or storage rooms. But some weren't. Some were built specifically for survival, and then sealed. The apartment complex where this happened was built in 1982. When I reviewed the original architectural plans, something stood out. The drawings clearly labeled basement levels 1 through 5, but below B5 there were marks, erased lines, faded pencil strokes, half-removed labels. It looked less like a sealed floor and more like someone trying to erase the idea that it ever existed. The building manager told me it was probably a software glitch. They gave me access to investigate. It was late, almost midnight. I stepped into the elevator with a flashlight and a small camera. The button panel showed B1 through B5. Nothing unusual. I pressed B5. The elevator moved normally at first. Then it stopped. The sound changed. The smooth electric hum shifted into something heavier, older, almost like the system had switched to a different set of cables. Then the display flickered. B7. The doors opened. The air felt thick, dusty, like it hadn't been disturbed in decades. The corridor looked frozen in time. Green and white paint peeling off concrete walls, old fluorescent fixtures. This wasn't a modern basement. It was a time capsule. Faded Korean signs on the wall read, "Civil Defense Shelter." Capacity 200 people. There were rusted emergency food cans, gas masks, first aid kits. On the wall, a calendar. October 1983. You notice the smell first. Old paper, metal, and something harder to describe: stagnant time. This wasn't just a basement. It was a waiting room, a place built for a disaster that never came. On a desk, I found a logbook. The last entry read, "Inspection complete. December 1995. Facility sealed." This space was designed so 200 families could survive a nuclear attack. I call this anticipatory grief. Thousands of tons of concrete poured, not for living, but for surviving. Then I found a VHS tape. The label read, "Civil Defense Training Record, 1994. When I played it, the footage shifted to that unmistakable 90s camcorder look. Families practicing evacuation drills, children wearing gas masks, an instructor calmly saying, "In case of emergency, proceed to your designated shelter." Then the image cut to static. For just a second, the camera showed the same empty corridor I was standing in. Footsteps echoed. Walking away. This wasn't storage. People were here, families, children. This place wasn't theoretical. It was real life. Why does a place like this feel so unsettling? It looks almost like a home. Blankets, supplies, radios. But it's a home designed for the end of the world. That contradiction is what makes it disturbing. This is collective trauma built into concrete. The fear that everyday life above ground could disappear at any moment. For decades, that fear wasn't abstract. It was daily life. Down here, the Cold War never ended. The sirens are still ringing, just buried under silence. In psychology, this is called the uncanny. Something familiar, but wrong. A space caught between peace and war, between memory and forgetting. As I walked deeper into the corridor, I saw a heavy iron door. It was slightly open. Then I heard it. A loud mechanical thud. The elevator, moving. I had the overwhelming feeling that I wasn't supposed to be there, like the building itself wanted me gone. I ran back to the elevator, pressed the button, hard. When the doors opened again, I was back in the bright lobby. Safe. Normal. The next day, I checked the original blueprints again. There was no record of B7. But there was something else. In the oldest drafts, barely visible pencil marks appeared below it. B8. B9. The deeper you go, the further back in time it feels. B7 wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Some traumas are buried deeper than others. Before we close entry number 3, I want your input. Today, we explored real historical trauma hidden beneath a modern city. Do you want more investigations like this? Real places, real history? Or should we return to purely fictional liminal spaces? And should we stay here in Korean apartment buildings or explore underground mysteries around the world? Let me know in the comments. Because if you want to see what's on B8, I may have to dig much deeper into Korea's buried past. Between 1975 and 1995, more than 17,000 civil defense shelters were built beneath South Korean apartments. As of today, about 60% have been repurposed or sealed. The remaining 40% are still there, underground, waiting. Entry number 4, loading.